Good afternoon, everybody. As always, my name is JC, and welcome to my channel, Every Man's Thoughts. In today's video, we're going to cover everything important we know so far about Amazon Prime's television adaptation of the fantasy series, The Wheel of Time. I will be covering the series for the entire life of the show, so if that is of interest to you, please consider subscribing to my channel, and with that, let's begin. We know that the first season is based primarily off the first book in the series, The Eye of the World. I say primarily because several reports state they will be weaving multiple books into each season. An excellent example of this comes from the Ask Me Anything session hosted on the show's official Twitter feed. In response to the question, are you planning a book per season or are there adaptations and inclusions from multiple? Official showrunner Rafe Judkins replied, "We have to combine. Madeline Madden and Josh Stradowski would be 45 when we finish otherwise." Madeline and Joshua are relatively younger actors playing characters on the show, and this is of course a reference to just how many books there are in the Wheel of Time series. Next, Season 1 is going to have 8 episodes about an hour long each. We can gain further insight about the source material by examining the titles of those episodes. In an article written on winteriscoming.net, they give a solid breakdown of what book and what chapter each episode is based on. Essentially, the first 4 episodes are based on the first book, The Eye of the World, and the last 4 episodes are based on the second book, The Great Hunt. To avoid spoilers, I'm not going to go into further detail, but I will have a link in the description for anyone who wants to read the article. One final note about Season 1, from what I could gather from my readings and snippets, is it does look like it is going to be told from the perspective of Moiraine. There are obviously going to be other very important and long-running characters introduced early in Season 1, but she's going to be the glue that holds the whole thing together. As you may expect, we don't have an official release date yet, but we can make a very solid educated guess. The show has been in various states of production since September 2019 and finally wrapped production on Season 1 in May of 2021. Normally, these shows have 5 to 6 months of post-production after their final wrap. This would logically put us sometime between Halloween and Christmas. I wouldn't be surprised if we see an extended teaser trailer sometime around Halloween, and the show's premiere date being between American Thanksgiving and Christmas. The show has already been renewed for Season 2. In fact, the celebration of that renewal is what prompted the fan Ask Me Anything session on Twitter. In an interview at an online convention and in the AMA session, official showrunner Rafe Judkins has stated that through all of the shutdowns, they have continued to write for Season 2. At this point, they've already written deep into Season 2, and we actually have a title for the first episode called A Taste of Solitude. I'll have a link in the description below to the show's official Twitter profile for fans that want to go through the question and answer session. I'm not covering it in extensive detail today because it does contain items that some would consider spoilers. Before we talk about the writing staff, I will be making a separate in-depth video in regards to the cast and crew of the show. I'm doing this because there's no way to discuss those issues without touching on characters and plot points, which is information some people may be trying to avoid. Okay, so with that out of the way, the show's lead showrunner or lead writer is Rafe Judkins. Mr. Judkins has some solid experience as a producer, but as you can see, not much experience specifically as a writer. I know that sounds bad, but fans really shouldn't read too much into it. As the lead writer and developer, his experience as a producer just bringing things together offers a lot of value for the position. Also, how this usually works is the prospective showrunner goes to the higher level executive producers and offers them a pitch on how he envisions the show. If a relatively inexperienced writer wins, then it stands to reason that his pitch was just that much better than everybody else's, and that's a good thing. Finally, when a showrunner is picked, they usually go out and hire other experienced writers to fill in the gap, and that's exactly what happened here with Amanda Schumann, Michael Clarkson, Paul Clarkson, Justin Gilmer, and others. For perspective, Mr. Judkins has considerably more experience than the showrunners in charge of Lord of the Rings on Prime, and that's a $1 billion show. Well, that's it for me today, guys. I will see you next time.